Hi, wonderful Hunter, one of the best moderators ever. Thank you. Thank you. It is always a pleasure. This is my topic. I am actually upskilling myself, so I am ready to go, Hunter. Let's go.
I love it. Yeah, I mean it's working out loud, right? This
Yes.
is what we got to do because if we have 1%, 5% more experience than the person next to us, we have something to offer, we have something to
Mhm.
share because this is where we are in our journey. So, thank you for inviting us
Yes.
in on this.
Yes, yes, yes. So,
Yeah.
everyone in that can hear my voice, as we talk about upskilling, I want you to have the mindset of these three words. Yes, I can. That's all we need, and we're gonna give you some tips. Yes, I can.
I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
So you have extensive experience in inclusive leadership. What's one surprising leadership gap you've seen in organizations, and how can they address it through upskilling?
Okay, money, money, money. That is the gap, Hunter.
Yeah.
We know that things are getting tight. We know that things are being cut. We know that grants, things that you might have had access to, professional development funds, access to executive coaching. Some companies and organizations, nonprofits are pulling back. So this is where the upskilling comes. So let's level set for all of the people that can hear our voice. Upskilling is earning new skills. It's improving the ones you already got. It's a skill to even be on Power to Fly and be able to log in, right? That's a skill.
Hmm.
It helps people like you adapt to new technologies. So we're going to talk about new technologies, AI, EQ, all that stuff. Industry trends, and all these new job requirements that they're telling you that you need to get a promotion, all that. And companies invest in upskilling programs or consultants like myself to teach you how to enhance whatever you're doing, because you really don't have time to take a whole nother class or get a whole nother certification, but you still need to close the skill gap. So that's what that is. But money, 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 Hunter, is the gap. And upskilling is a way to help close that gap when sometimes you don't have access to money. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if the money is the key, do we do that? How do we navigate that? Do we have to invest in ourselves in that way? Is that something we're looking to lean on within our companies? Is it a hybrid approach? What's the way in?
Yes, and so I tell my people all the time there are so many free ways to upskill. So we're already getting into the bread and butter. There's so many ways to upskill. If you know Excel, and your company has a LinkedIn Learning a free subscription, use it. There are so many people that don't know about the great thing of LinkedIn Learning. The last facilitator did a little snippet about LinkedIn Learning. Use LinkedIn Learning as a way to upskill and improve your Excel skill. Um, in my community, I live in a college town. This is a caveat, but there are so many free things that the college community offers to the public that will help with upskilling, Hunter. Free in-person community engagement things about whether you need to know about AI, which we'll talk about in a moment, which you need to know about the new industry trends in product management or supply chain. There's lots of things that communities offer in regards to upskilling and getting some skills, because, as I said, time is of the essence. Companies, if you work for a good company, they might have the programs to say, hey, if you want a PMP, this is how you do it, right? And so utilizing your environments on and off work, utilizing platforms such as LinkedIn to get access to that upskilling when there is no money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's so important to remember that the if you're with an employer, they want you to upskill. And so they're going to
Hmm.
provide you with these opportunities. You just need to
Correct.
maybe seek them out because it's in their best interest for you to learn
Hmm.
new skills because the environment is always changing.
Always changing, always changing. And this is how I love to get people to give me things, right? And so I like to have talking points to give to my clients so that their employers will give them things. And how to address the need for upskilling is always timely. We know that people managers want you to be the best at their job so that you can be more productive. So that what? So that you can get that other P, which is profitability, right? And so
Mm,
you need a time to address how you want to upskill this. So let me give you a tidbit. If you need to make an investment in yourself to be a better employee and individual, there's always a time, place, and manner to get it right. Whether it's evaluation time, whether you've knocked a presentation out of the ballpark, whether you have aligned yourself with a coach, a sponsor, or a mentor, or whether you are willing to solve a problem. You find a problem, people, and you go to your manager and say, "Hey, I found a problem, but there is just this one thing that I might need to learn so that I can solve the problem for you all." These are all ways to address the necessity of upskilling.
I love that. Are there any other talking points that if you like little stump speech moments you can give me?
Oh, yes, stump speed. As I want to improve my longevity with the company, here are my options for upskilling skills that I already have in order to make me a better asset to the department or the community. It's
I
all semantic, people, all
Yeah.
semantics. Make sure you use data-driven numbers. We all have access to Google. We all have access to Copilot and Chat GPT. Get some data. Get some data on why this skill is going to make you a better employee and make you more productive. It's at your fingertips. And then it's up to
Mm,
you to sell it. It's up to you to sell it.
yeah. And how do you position that as strategic growth for the entire organization as well when we're advocating for ourselves?
I always connect it to mission, values, and goals, and of course, KPIs. Whenever I'm asking or helping someone talk through that they need something, you always want to connect it to mission, values, and goals, as well as KPIs and metrics. Let me help you, right? Let me help you in Q1 or Q2 get this metric by me understanding the ins and outs of this product chain or the ins and outs of a new theory or something. And so I always use the notion of help me help you and
Mm,
using data-driven inclusion and um, upskilling to help with that.
yeah. And how do you ensure that these upskilling initiatives are accessible and meaningful
Oh,
to employees from all different backgrounds?
oh, this is it. So I'm making an assumption, right? That everyone is in a synergy at work, that anyone can go and ask their company that they need a new skill. That's an assumption on my part, and we know what assumptions are. And how to ensure that upskilling is accessible and meaningful to employees from all backgrounds is making sure one, you are in an environment like that. If you are not, always reach out because there's more ways to improve your skills even at your job, even if
Mm,
it's not associated to your job. However, different people have different ways of accessing professional development. Once again, different people have different ways and challenges of accessing professional development. There are people on here who are neurodivergent. There are people on here who love self-paced online, in-person workshops, or a live virtual session like we're doing right now. These different types of formats are able to reach different types of learners. Only you know what is best for you. So I
mm,
want you to understand there's flexible learning formats.
yeah.
And this is someone who is trying to learn a different language. Upskilling should just not be a majority based language, right? I'm telling a lot of my clients that learning different language is an upskill, is a skill that is priceless. And then
Mhm.
I got to go back to the money, Hunter. Do I have the money to cover a new certificate, a new training material, or travel to a conference? All of these are barriers that sometimes hinder people from access. And so understanding the barriers will also help you find a solution to those barriers.
Mm-hmm. And when you're looking for solutions, what's a practical tip for leaders who are looking to develop their teams in engaging and empower ways and to up level their team?
Well, first, Hunter, it's nothing like your supervisor, your people manager coming to you and saying, Hunter, I think you need a new skill. And you're like, "Uh, really?" So let's be
Yeah,
cognizant of that, right?
yeah.
Let's have a little bit of EQ people managers or leaders, right? And so you want to gauge people, gauge people. And this is where I have with people that I supervise is the growth or the yes, I can conversation. And so to the people managers and the leaders, are you in a space with people to have the yes, I can conversation to say, instead of me assuming that you need a new skill, let me ask if you want one. What skills do you want to build? Where do you see yourself growing? How can I support you in that development and not just say, uh, you need to upskill? So just be mindful of that, but always have these, what I like to call, yes, I can conversations, which is that you're asking those intentional conversations and those prompts to see where people want to learn. Then when they say, yes, yes, I can, then we go into, well, let's get it done. What does that look like? Do we have the funding? Do you need to go somewhere? Is this part, can we add this on to your already stressful workload? So that's where you get into that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I tell people to maneuver.
I love that.
Mhm.
So we hinted at this earlier
Okay.
on, with the evolving skills that we need to be developing and things that we need to be focusing on now and looking ahead for the next 5 years. What are those things? This is a loaded question. What answer I'm looking for here.
Okay. So it's story time, people. It's story
Yeah.
time. As he read my bio, um, I am always searching, right? I am never satisfied with the status quo. So, as if you follow me on LinkedIn, and I'll make sure that everyone gets my LinkedIn, I am now a new AI photographer. Yes, adding to my already things that I do, I'm an AI photographer. And this is an upskill that has just become immensely profitable for me that I learned as a way to take a skill that I already had. And now I have incorporated photography, AI, branding in this upskill. And let me tell you, people, this upskill is not only necessary, but it has opened the door for so many other things.
Hmm.
And so AI photography, I have clients. So not only am I coaching people like you, but I'm also providing them professional headshots, and we've never met in person. I'm providing them professional branding packages, and I have not stepped foot in their town, their city, or their room to motivate them to get that job or to produce that brand. And
Hmm.
why I'm sharing this story with you is because AI photography was not something that was on my horizon. I had a yes, I can conversation with myself on a skill that I already had. I already know about graphics. I already know about editing. I already know about Photoshop, all of that. So I am maximizing something that I already had to include AI. You have to have that adaptive ideology and leadership and fluidity to upskill. The pace of change is moving people. For you to even be logging on and listening to Hunter and I, you know that as women allies, co-conspirators, advocates, that we have to continue to change and make data-driven decisions on how we're going to change our environments. So that's my storytelling. Some of the hot topics. digital and AI literacy. And
Yeah.
then I want to go, Hunter, I want to go to the other spectrum of that. So people are talking about robots and iRobots and this AI literacy. But one of the things that I'm seeing is EQ and empathy and being human centered. That's the new thing.
Mhm.
Someone who can give an answer without chat GPT. Someone who has that charisma to actually talk to a person, human and human. Those are some skills that we're lacking. And for those of you, if you look on LinkedIn, empathy is one of the top words in job descriptions for CEOs and C-suites.
Hmm. How do you learn to be more empathetic in the workplace?
Oh, God, we only got 30 minutes, Hunter.
No, we only
What?
got 12 minutes
Yeah,
now.
we only have 12 minutes. Oh my gosh. Whew. Empathy. Yeah, empathy it can be a learned, I don't like to say soft skill. I actually like to say life skill.
Hmm.
Is a learned Can be a learned life skill. And it's taking the role of the other. We're not talking about sympathy. Making sure you also know the difference between sympathy and empathy, right?
Yes.
Um, and taking the role of the other and holding judgment and understanding that how Hunter walks through the world is different how Alex walks through the world.
Hmm.
Um, and so empathy is something that can be taught, it can be learned, it can be practiced. Um, but yeah, just making sure that you can take the role of the other, hmm
Yeah.
in
And
our
it can be
in our
improved.
short time.
Yeah. And it can be improved, right?
It can be improved. Yes, it can be improved. Definitely.
Because as soon as I think I know everything about somebody else, I am not
Mhm.
being empathetic anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what does that look like? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. EQ and empathy, those are the two E's right there.
Yeah. What does
E
EQ stand for?
Oh, I'm
Or
sorry, emotional intelligence. Emotional
Mhm.
intelligence.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
being able to read the room, just read the room. When I start my EQ workshops, I say people read the room. If you have a blockage, EQ can help you. You can get a certificate in EQ. I mean, there's leadership things, there's tons of things on EQ,
Yeah.
which is a skill, haha, that you can improve.
Hmm.
There you go.
There's a few different modalities, or I'm gonna get a little in the weeds for a second. Do you
Mhm.
use the one that's like the sage and the judge, or do you have a different EQ model that you use? Because I know you
I use the
coaching.
one, oh gosh, you got me. I use the one that talks about self-management, self-awareness. It's 2 more. It's a 4 quadrant,
Yeah,
new model, and I'm terrible, you all. I am missing he was the bestseller. He's the maverick in EQ.
yeah.
Um,
It's okay.
and
I threw a curveball at you.
yeah. Now I gotta find it, but, it's a 4 quadrant model,
Okay.
self-regulation, self-management, um reading the room in
Mhm.
regards to EQ. You can get a certificate in that, but yes, I tell
Yeah,
people
yeah.
all the
I
time,
love hearing that.
especially
Yeah, 'cause I'm
uh,
always looking for more resources, and I love because different modalities and different versions, there's different words, and some words are, even though we're all searching for the same thing,
I use the Daniel Goldman model. There it is. And I had to
there it
find
is.
Daniel
Yeah,
Goldman, GOLEMAN, #1 bestseller. And I use his model, his foundation. You can get a certificate, but it's Daniel Goldman and Emotional Intelligence, #1 bestseller. Um, why it matters more than your EQ, more than your
mm,
IQ. Your EQ
more than
matters
your
more
eye.
than your IQ. There you go.
Yes, for
Now you
sure.
I had to
Especially with AI now, AI is like increase everyone's IQ capabilities because we have this magic machine in our heads now that can tell us all these things. So
Yes,
you worked
yes.
across a range of industries from
Did.
banking, higher education. What's
Mhm.
something, maybe an unexpected lesson you've learned about leadership that you think every professional should know?
Powerful leadership isn't about being right all the time, people. It's about asking the right questions. We have egos, we have degrees, we have all those certifications in these skills that we're having. But to me, a powerful leader is not can stand corrected. And when they stand corrected, they can ask the right questions or what I like to call power questions. Power questions are those questions where you are finding the gap that we talked about and that you're being human centered. I have been at a lot of tables with CEOs, people that make more money than I will ever see. And some of them do not have EQ. Some of them have high IQ, but not EQ. And that they might want to upskill, right? And so for me, those powerful leaders that don't have all the answers, but they're really invested in asking the right questions to get to those power questions, that's for me. That's the leadership and that I've seen and I've grown to learn, that I've grown to love.
Mm-hmm.
So
How do you like to show up as a leader? What are you working on right now?
I think as a leader, I am not stagnant. And because I lead different types of people, I show up differently. I'm a college professor in my other life. So I lead my students. And I'm not just their professor, but they're also looking to me for leadership with their applying for jobs. So I lead them different. Then I lead my clients different. I have type A personalities. I have introverts, extroverts. I have people who are ready to climb the social ladder and make 400,000 by the end of this year, right? And so my leadership style is based on who and where I am and where that person is. And while many of you might not be able to do that, I am still honing on, and it is a moving target, Hunter. It is a
Mm,
moving target. And so with all the leadership books I've read or participated in research or done this, and which many of you have done, it should be a moving target in regards to your leadership. And that's where your leadership comes in that I want to help people be better than they were last year or last
mm,
quarter. And upskilling allows that, Hunter.
mm-hmm. When you're starting to work with someone for the first time and you're meeting them where they are, how do you assess that? How do you figure that out to how to best help them?
Oh, I'm a tree hugger. And I do assessments on people. I do. I do assessments on people. Hunter, if you were my client, I'd be like, Hunter, now I'm gonna do some rapport building, but I gotta do some assessments on your strengths. So I do assess people. I do. Some of my assessments are I've created some. I use other tools um, to assess people. Right. Um, I use feedback, 360 feedback are ways that I get to know people or find out what people need. You are too. And then once again, there is AI ways to assess people, how to tailor your leadership for individual needs, company needs, department needs, um, all of that. And so I do provide custom, personalized things for people. And you can too. It's not hard. You can too. It might take a little bit more work. It's kind of not one size doesn't fit all, but you can too if that's something that you're very passionate about.
Mm. What's the most challenging thing for Dr. White right now in what you do?
Oh man, full transparency, as you see, DEI it was and is, and it's not going away. I'm an African American woman in the United States. I am walking DEI. So no matter what is going on in the world, I am your poster child for DEI. And so, right now, using the conversation of upskill for a lot of my people who worked in the DEI space. Yes. And how they are rebranding themselves, right?
Mm,
So I choose not to rebrand myself, right? I'm not running away. I have that autonomy. And some people do not. They got mortgages, they got student loans, they gotta, they have to maneuver, this DEI space. And so what I am helping them is how to use the DEI to upskill. You've been doing this work. Now let's reimagine, reframe, because we understand that your job might be lost. So what can we do to upskill so that
Mm,
people see that you have more skills that are not related to DEI? So Hunter,
mm,
for transparency, that is what I'm doing with about 15 to 20 people right now.
yeah. Yeah. That makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Yeah, and that impact. So
Hmm.
that
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. What's your favorite thing about what you're doing right now?
it one, I get to share spaces with you, and I get to see how things are embedded in real work. People are doing the real work. They're learning by doing. They're moving beyond theory. They're moving beyond, I've got this certificate, and now I've just learned a new skill and I can write this policy. And they send me a copy of it. Or I ask a company or get a company to get a new program so that people can learn something. And or they can learn financial literacy, which is a skill. Getting the company to do something so that it can help the masses. That is the joy in the work. Like the learning by doing and seeing the result of people learning new things, and they're curious, they're uncertain, but they're doing it anyway. And so that's my mantra. Be scared, be brave, do it anyway. And seeing people doing that, that is the bread and butter, Hunter.
I love that. Yeah, if I'm getting a little too comfortable in something, if I'm not nervous or a little
Uh-huh.
scared, I
Uh-huh.
think it means I'm getting a little lazy, resting on my laurels, maybe.
Yes, yes, yes. So
Yeah,
no, I skydived, and that was one of my things going up into the plane. Be brave, be scared. I'm gonna do this anyway. There
that's
we go.
still on my bucket list. Good for you. You literally jumped out of a plane.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love that. What do you got coming up, Dr. White? Anything we should tune in for, watch out for, sign up for?
Oh, I just had a book about moms come out on Valentine's.
Congratulations.
Okay, it came out on Valentine's Day, and it's the story of mothers. Some of you that are listening to me right now are mothers, and it is a story on the mothers who work on college campuses and their lived experiences. Because when your children go off to college, there are mothers that are taking care of them, whether it's dean of students, whether it's the track coach. And so I have an anthology of over 60 mothers who are talking about their lived experiences on college campuses in higher education. I'm doing a book signing. I'm in New Orleans doing a book signing and doing some other stuff with entrepreneurship. And yes, so I work with the small business development. And so upskilling is a thing for me. So I work for the Small Business Development Center. If you ever need help upskilling for your business, reach out to me. And that's what I'm doing right now, talking about mothers and talking about entrepreneurship and building a small business.
I love it. Dr. Alexandria White. Look for her on LinkedIn. She's always posting what's going on, what's happening. I love everything about you. Thank you so much for being
Of
here today.
course. Thank you. Thank you.